What's up? All right. Got a little running a little behind. Supposed to start at 8:30. Apologies for that. Um I was working on a project and got kind of sucked in and then asked for help on a Discord. It was not a project for comics, but it was a project for video games. I'm having a problem with an old Game Boy, a DMG, the gray bricks. Pins 4, 6, and 7 on the ribbon are not putting out the right voltage. So because of that, the buttons on the front are not communicating with the CPU. So I'm trying to fix that, and I basically it's like way above my pay grade as far as this stuff goes. Usually, you can fix most things with like a quick clean and maybe a new part or two, but like this is like they're not pulling they don't have the right resistance to ground, and like it's like I don't know. I'm learning a lot, but I had someone's attention who's far more knowledgeable than me at it for a minute, and he was guiding me through some stuff. So yeah, I'm a little late. I didn't want to be rude and be like, "Can you help me with this?" And then be like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! I got something else to do. Can you help me with this later?" you know. Um. All right. So let's get down to the thing. Oh, also, uh, I apparently I was part of a team that won a 2022 GLAD award. Um, that is glad for anybody who doesn't know is an organization that represents LGBTQ in media. He would have understood my fans were waiting. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if that's necessarily true. A. B. Questionable if we have fans or not here. But yeah, I won a GLAD award. They support LGBTQ media in entertainment. Crush and Lobo was the book that won, and I am a very very tiny small role in that. Tamra actually colors that book, um, and she had to give up 10 or 11 pages on issue 7 in order for the book to come out on time. They hired me to like fill in. So even though my contribution was very minimal, it was still nice that they put my name up and gave me just as much praise as everybody else. I'll take it. For once I was not your fifth favorite colorist. For once we were number one or two, I guess. um, but yeah, you should check out that book if you're into LGBTQ stuff. And the book is very beautiful, and the part that I got to work on, I got to match with Tamra, which is always a challenge, but I did as best I could in there. So if you want to check that out, issue 7 is where it's at. So yeah, pick it up, check it out. Um, so that happened and then on the same day, I got told to shut the fuck up on Reddit. So real mixed bag, a real mixed bag. I voiced a video game opinion, and then I got told to shut the fuck up. So yeah, the real mixed bag of the day. Yeah, yeah, I know. Glad only takes Big Four for awards. Yeah, I know. Um, which is wild because I feel like a lot of great LGBTQ stuff. My first mistake was mentioning Skyrim. You're not wrong. The A lot of great LGBTQ centered stuff comes out of comics that are not part of the Big Four, but I think they tackle the Big Four specifically because they have the highest profile in media, and that's what they are focused on. They're not digging through the smaller stuff to find good representation. They're celebrating representation that is extremely visible, you know. So anyway, let's get into some pages. All right, let me. I can close my Twitter notifications. Let me put this aside. Sorry, I'm still. Like I said, I was a little rushed getting set up. We're almost ready. Okay, so here is Uncanny X-Men. I closed the thing where I knew what the page was. I specifically want to tell you the page and the number because it's important. This is Uncanny X-Men issue 525, page 11. And we'll get into here's what the line art looks like. Can we just see the line art? There we go. It was originally colored by Justin Ponzer in 2010. He was doing amazing work in 2010. Uh, it doesn't. I don't think by like today's standards you would consider it amazing. Like it's definitely aged a bit, but for 2010, like you got to think like this was 12 years ago, so we had no access to Kyle Webster brushes. No one was really doing anything super painterly in the interiors in these books, and Justin was what he was doing was pushing the envelope. These are not my favorite of his pages, but he went on to do some of my favorite pages of all time. So we're letting it slide because he's a legend. Unfortunately, if you don't know, he succumbed to cancer. Gosh, 2 years ago now, 3. It's tough. It's tough keeping track of time these days. But yeah, he had a pretty rough fight and eventually succumbed to it. Cancer sucks. Cancer sucks. So I see this page and these flats a lot because of these flats a lot in portfolio reviews. I think I've done at least 3 or 4 with this page, and no one seems to quite get it right. And the reason is it's an incredibly difficult page. Let's set it up so that we are ready to work on it. It's in RGB. I'm gonna set it to CMYK. We're gonna copy the line art, make a new layer, fill it with black, make a mask, alt click the mask, paste the line art in, and invert it. Boom. There we go. Now we're ready to work on the background. We're going to duplicate just so that we can kind of preserve the flats here and lock them so we don't accidentally edit them. But now we're good to go. We can, work on this stuff. See? We're working on it. I don't think it's ready yet. Okay. All right. So yeah, we can work basically underneath the line art. So the reason this page gets circulated a lot is because it got posted up on DeviantArt. This originally came out in 2010. I think in 2012 it was up on DeviantArt. Hold on, I can pull up the page actually. We probably should have done this before. Once I find the... Yeah. So in my Discord here, there is in the Art Resources tab, which is all the way on the bottom here, there's flatted pages for practice. And if you come across a page that's flatted and ready to go, a file to share that's high resolution, post it up. Matt, whose portfolio review we did last art stream, said that this was on DeviantArt, so let's check it and see. Yeah, this is the exact page. This is the exact post. Written by Matt Fraction, pencils Terry Dodson, inks Rachel Dodson. He doesn't mention the colors because you are the colorist for this one. December 16th, 2013. I don't know if it was floating around beforehand. Apparently this guy's got some other pages up here. I don't have a DeviantArt account, so I can't pull these down. But Matt was gracious enough to, after the the review posted up a link for it. So here it is. I'll drop it into the chat. There you go. If you want it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put the link for this in the chat as well. In the description, not the chat. Man, I have a problem with like rushing through and misspeaking all the time. I'm thinking one thing and saying another. It's a bad habit of mine. At any rate, let's get into like what makes this challenging. Oh, I also wanted to mention Chris Sotomayor, who's a great professional colorist. He runs a lot of like classes and stuff for comic book coloring. When he asked Marvel for pages, this was one of the pages that he got. And the pages that he got from Marvel, he got like a big pile, and they were sorted by difficulty. And this one was a high level of difficulty. So let's talk about what's going on this page. I'm going to duplicate this again. So basically, there's a couple of huge problems. One is that we have overlapping that's happening here with his arm. And then so it's like him here, and then he's here as well. So these have to be separate. Not only that, but you have Psylocke and the guy, I forgot what they were called. I tracked down the original page. Nimrods, I think. Psylocke and Nimrod, if that makes any sense. Fighting outside of this building right here, right? So this building is kind of critical information right here. And then suddenly we're inside the building with Iceman and Dazzler. Dazzler not in the printed page. They cut her from the thing. And then you have Nimrod and Psylocke outside of the building. Now, they didn't put a lot of like the Dotsons didn't put a lot of like, I don't know, stuff on the interior of this building. So you have exterior scene, interior scene, and then your exterior again. And you also have this same building that Iceman's jumping out of against this same building. And like, there's no gutter here. So whatever color you're going to make the building, if you don't differentiate the planes there, they're going to start to like collapse in on each other. So you're going to have the two panels kind of fighting with each other. And it's like, this is kind of a slanted grid and this is kind of a slanted grid. And it kind of looks like it goes together here. Like this kind of seems like one piece. And then you have these like smoke ring organic effects that kind of like mimic this stuff that's happening in here, which like you can start to see how visually it starts to fold in on itself. If you just look at the line art, it's still like there's so much information happening here. There's so much. So like as a colorist, you kind of have to separate those things. You got to make it readable. That's the name of the game, is like trying to make this as readable as possible. Now, we never get back into the interior here in panel 2, so we can really like run wild. The other thing is that I wanted to mention real quickly, because I've seen this page pop up in other portfolios, is that in the story, there's like a dome on the city or something, and then like the Fantastic Four are trying to get in, and the X-Men are fighting Nimrod on the inside. Nimrod's trying to, I guess, wipe out all mutant kind, and all the mutants are in this city, and he's like quarantined it off or something. I don't know. Anyway, the point is that you have this like red sky. This isn't like necessarily an arbitrary pick here. You know, when we look at this, we got red sky here, and the reason for that is because that's like the dome sky. Now, if you put this page, you always have to think about this. Like, You don't want to hand in a page like this for a portfolio review and then have the sky look weird and then be like, no, 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 it's a dome sky from earlier in the issue. You know, like you want to put your best foot forward. So what I'm going to do is just take this whole dome sky thing and just throw it away. Because like if we're just putting this one page into our portfolio or 2 pages as Matt did in the previous stream, then like why are we even messing with the dome? Who cares about the dome? The dome doesn't bother me. It's not bothering anybody because we're getting rid of it. So let's get into this a little bit. So we're gonna do kind of like a sky background here. It's from an episode of Jericho. Was Jericho that one? I'm thinking of Under the Dome, the show Under the Dome. Does anybody remember that? Am I dating myself here? So we're gonna do kind of a blue sky. We're gonna desat these buildings a little bit. I'm just kind of like fixing the flats. Like we're not really thinking about anything at all in particular. We should probably colorize these guys a little bit so they don't clash with the border. Iceman is the same here for some reason, but not anywhere else. This is kind of a weird shape. I think the flatter was like, I don't know what to do with this one thing. So let's fix that. All right, Iceman. Let's make him bluer. Let's fix all this glass. Whoa. Okay, so we're getting a little grainy. This can happen when you go from RGB to CMYK. That was Under the Dome. Was Jericho the town? It might have been the town. So sometimes when you go from CMYK or RGB to CMYK, you get this kind of like graininess. Like you can't tell that these are different colors, and in fact when I click it, it doesn't show up as different colors, but when I click this, it's showing up as subtly different. Very subtly different. We have, what is this? 53, 71, 55, 40 versus 53, 71, 56, 41. That'll happen. A different wand tolerance will fix that. Like if we lower the tolerance here to like, let's see if we lower it to 5. Yeah, see, now we're not picking it up at all. So let's kind of I want this to be separate but similar to whatever's going on in this panel. So let's make sure that these all click separately. Let's fade this smoke. Okay. Let's take this smoke and like really... Oh, we don't want to use gray because I think Nimrod is kind of gray. So we're going to make him as gray as possible. Let's try to use Justin's page as like a touchstone for colors of these characters. Yeah, he's just gray all over. He doesn't have any trim or anything, I guess. So let's just keep him gray. Eyes, mouth, and chest were all flatted different, but let's make them all the same. We're going to warm up the smoke. Yeah, the conversion uses a little bit of dithering, yeah. It's just the way it is. It's not like totally perfect. And I'm doing this in CMYK because Justin did this for print. So we're doing this for print. Normally with stuff that's only going to end up on the internet, I do it in RGB because RGB gives us access to a greater color range. But we're going to stay CMYK just to, you know, apples to apples this thing. I don't know if Justin worked CMYK or RGB, but they even flatted the head separately than the rest of the skin tone. She should be a little darker because she is Asian. I believe Psylocke is Japanese? I think Psylocke's Japanese. I'm replacing a lot of these colors because I want the colors to be as smooth as possible. None of that dithering like we were saying. And then I also want to get rid of any K-tones because I don't like working with a lot of K whenever possible. Okay. I think that this is dithering feels like you should be able to disable. Yeah, but like she's a British person in the body of an Asian person. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I've worked with the dithering now for a ridiculous amount of years. So it doesn't even bother me anymore. If it is truly a thing that you can disable, it's like I don't even know if it's worth me trying to figure out how to disable at this point. Okay, so here we have the page as I've kind of like fixed the flats, quote unquote. There was nothing wrong with them. I just kind of like got it to a more readable level than this. So let's talk about foreground, middle ground, background. So because the building here in this panel is more towards the viewer, and this one is the furthest back. So let's talk about panel 1. Let's talk about panel 1. We're going to make like a heat map. So we have the villain here for panel 1. Right? And he's the absolute closest to us. We can deselect him here. He's the absolute closest to us. Oh, I guess, is that part of him? These things? Is this part of him? Thought that might have been part of Psylocke. I don't know. It's probably part of him. Okay. So he's the absolute closest to us. And then Psylocke is the next closest object to the viewer. And I don't usually do this kind of stuff to break down planes because I've just been doing this for so long. We're going to make her like this blue. I've been doing this for so long, like I don't necessarily need to do this, but if you need to do this, there's no shame in it. It's just like an added step that I don't necessarily need. And then this smoke trail is like further behind from them. We are not working with these other panels. And then the building is behind the smoke trail. So we are going to put it way back there, like way back there, because we want this building like almost white. And then that makes it so when we get down here, like this building, like this edge of this building is technically closer to us than anything else going on here. So we can kind of like, we can kind of do just like Psylocke level, and then like the debris we can do like this, and then Iceman and this dude we can do like maybe a half step between Psylocke and the building and the smoke. Do like Psylocke color and then 50% it. We gotta deselect all this other stuff. I'm selecting a ton of stuff that I don't want to be. And then like the smoke trail is like almost back there, and then the rest of this is really back there. This is, I would consider debris as well. I don't know what this is. I guess maybe this is part of the hole, or maybe it's part of the ice hitting the glass. I think it's like that. And then this panel is really interesting. So Iceman, you have Iceman here. Oh, I worked on the wrong layer. I worked on the wrong layer like a fool. Reflection of the ice? Yeah, maybe. Oh, we can back up. Hold on. Let me show you because I screwed this up. Let me show you a quick and easy way to fix this. We are going to do, I believe, duplicate state. No, that's not what we want. We're going to do a new snapshot. And then we're going to roll it back. We're going to select. We're going to copy this thing. So we've rolled it back, right? We can't go forward because I've made another action. The way the history works is I scrolled all the way back. I selected a step. I did another step. It erased all those actions. But so I selected all. I copied. We can go back to our snapshot. We've restored the state that it was in originally. Now I can combine both of these. I can put our regular flats back down here, and we haven't lost them. They're still there. So yeah, snapshots, they're your friend. If you need to roll it back, like take a snapshot of where you are, roll it back, do what you need to do as far as copying and pasting, and then head back to the snapshot. Switching to a different layer and part of the history. I don't know what you're necessarily asking. Does this actually permit you to insert switching to a... It's close enough and absolutely amazing. Yeah, snapshots will save your butt. Non-destructive editing. Yes, exactly. Snapshots will save your butt because you can always roll back. If you can roll back within the history, you can like do what you need to do and then get back to where you were in the other timeline. We're creating branching timelines. I told myself there was going to be no time travel this stream, and already we're way off the rails. So I kind of want everything in here. Dazzler, all the objects, the glass, Dazzler, Iceman, the debris inside, all of this I want as like the closest objects. Now, this stuff, the Dazzle sparkles, we got to get rid of those. But I want everything in there, basically because here's the reason. It needs to read, Iceman and Dazzler need to read as close to us. The closer they are to us, the less outside they are. And if we can put the glass between Iceman and Nimrod, we want to do that. So we want to make these guys as close to us as possible. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can roll it back, grab your layers that you screwed up or whatever, and then just roll back forward and then drop the layer in. Yeah. So in order to get these guys to be separate as possible. Did I do this one? Nope. We want to select these guys, but then we want to select kind of everything else in this panel. So this is everything else in this panel. And we're going to push it back basically as far as we can get it. Like I don't want to like do anything remotely close. So, okay, this is our heat map. This is what we're trying to do. Darker objects closer, lighter objects further away. And this will help us, thinking about this will help us try to make sense of this page. Because now, when you look at it, you have Psylocke behind this guy, Nimrod. You have the building faded into the background. this building no longer competes with the building in the panel 3. Like they've stopped competing with each other. Not only that, but Nimrod is no longer competing with Nimrod over here either. Like he's so far forward, this Nimrod's so far back that like they are separate. And by creating like this kind of like space with this page, you're creating a flow. So like we are like darkest, lightest stuff here. This is like where we enter the page is here, this strike, right? And then now we're going to go, if you go like just darkest, it's like we're shoop right there. And then this is a roadblock. It tells you to go this way. Like by fielding the foreground, middle ground, background stuff, by fielding that well and with strength, we can kind of clarify the story. And if you struggle with that stuff, the page is going to fall apart because you're going to be like worried about getting Iceman's ice right, and you're going to be worried about like, does the building look good? Does the glass look good? And then you start to make this building here be the same as this building here, and you can make them similar, but you cannot make them the same. You make them the same, you end up with a mess. And if like the smoke is competing with the building, then like you've got a double mess. And this is the only stuff, this stuff happens in sequential pages only. When you start to navigate how to tell a story within a page, when you have beat after beat after beat, and sometimes artists will throw you curveballs like, you know, no gutters. Jack Kirby always used gutters. Artists who don't use gutters think they're better than Jack Kirby. You're not better than Jack Kirby. You're not. Anyway, yeah, so this is like how when I see this page, this is how I want it tackled, basically. So we're gonna turn off these. We're gonna fade this layer and then lock it. You know what we should do actually? We're gonna use this. Oh my God, Vic McCoy's not better than Jack Kirby because he is Jack Kirby. This is a whole new rabbit hole to dive down. We're gonna use this as a guide. I usually don't do this that often, but if you watched when we did the Spider-Man stream, sometimes I use kind of a guide where we kind of break out planes and stuff, and so stuff's like easily grabbable, if that makes sense. Grabbable. So we're just going to take this space and then make it look like one color, and we'll do the same thing with the panel down here. By the way, I fixed my mouse problem that I was having. It turns out that when you have a dog who sheds and you never, ever, ever think to clean out your mouse, in 4 years, you get a little bit of dog hair into the laser of the mouse. And then your mouse looks like it's like a stuffed crust pizza of dog hair, and it's not a good situation. You gotta get some tweezers to get that dog hair out of there. You never expected people to be elitist about not using gutters? Hey, you got to talk to more colorists. Gutters are a blessing. Okay, since we're on the subject, I don't mean to, because like, look, I'm not really, like going off about, you know, gutters and whatever. Like art, pencilers can make whatever they want to make. In reality, like, I don't really care that much. A good colorist will go in and like, you know, like not fix, clarify whatever the penciler puts down. There's a lot. Go off, fake McCoy, please. There's a lot of stuff out there where, like, now if you make the page challenging by not putting in gutters, and your colorist isn't a strong colorist, you may end up with a situation where, like, things don't look so good, you know? Like, that might happen. If you want gutters are for bad bowlers. If you want, like, the page to be easy for a colorist to handle, gutters do help. That's you know, without question. Hold on, I'm finding another thing. Because I started thinking about this, right? Because I was looking at this page the last art stream, and then I saw this preview page for a Batman book. Now, I don't know who the artists or colorists are for this. I think I saw this on Reddit somewhere, but I was like, man, colorist doing a thing over here. Like, when you read this, you'd be like, oh, it's just a Batman book. But, like, the colorist is carving out the blacks here. He's carving out Batman from his cape. When the artist drew this nose was black on black. Like, everything orange here was black. So when the artist drew this, Batman's head was kind of folding into his cape there. And so the artist comes in, or the colorist comes in, and he's like, I'm just going to throw this orange grad over the whole thing in order to like clarify this. He's like, I'm going to make Batman's head pop out a little bit. And then he also made it so that it's still darker than the background here. So this panel background is like a little lighter than this color that he chose. So he's like popping forward, and then Batman's popping forward because of this the colors through this gradient. You feel sorry for who had to do this? No, don't feel sorry. This is the job, man. Like, this is how you do it. And not only that, but he did the same. So he did this flare here, but he also did it here. Look at this. The colorist carved out this panel border and this panel border right out of the art. Like, this was just straight black, and the colorist was like, I'm gonna carve this panel border out of the damn stone. I'm gonna give this panel border to the people for clarity. That's what they were doing. The art's great, the color's great. Like, I have nothing bad to say about it. But I saw this page and I was already thinking about, like, overlapping panels, and I was like, damn. So you want to be thinking about this stuff. When I was first starting with coloring, I was very nervous about, like, am I allowed to touch the lines? Am I allowed to, like, get in there and, like, mess with the line art? Like, is that allowed? Will people not like that? Here's the thing. Beg forgiveness rather than asking for permission, because sometimes line artists get, like, caught in something, and if they need a little help clarifying, like, that's your job. You're there as the colorist to fix it, you know? Not fix it. I keep saying that. You're there as a job to clarify what they're putting down. You're the last pass on the art before it goes to letters. And letters help clarify as well, so. Anyway. No artist safe. Okay, so let's get into this. I'm just going to select the figures that we are going to edit. Did we select all of Dazzler? The cool thing about this page is that, I guess we can put a little shadow on Psylocke here. The cool thing about this page is that it's a really, like, showcase of Psylocke hurting Nimrod right here. And beyond that, we don't need to do. And then I guess Iceman. Iceman's cool ice stuff. Beyond Iceman's cool ice stuff and that first panel of Psylocke and Nimrod, we can kind of get away with not putting a ton of detail in. As long as everything is readable, it's like all good. So I bumped the mic there. I apologize. Just to verify I knew gutters were that you knew gutters were. You Googled it. It got a lot of interesting examples of big white gutters. Definitely made the pages less interesting. Oh no. Oh no. Gutters. Okay, for anybody who needs a quick explanation on gutters, let's real quick. Let's do that. Hold on. Let me save my selection. Just do that. Okay. Quick explanation on gutters. When you have sequential art, usually when you see like, I don't know, I was just going to use like Peanuts and Calvin and Hobbes as like a touchstone, like newspaper cartoons, but I realize now I'm a 40-year-old man and I'm slowly dying. Every cell in my body is slowly wasting away. So we're not going to use that as an example, but if you were to make a comic strip, if you were to think about a comic strip in the ether, certainly not one in a newspaper, you have, your panel 1, and you have your panel 2, and you got your panel 3, and you got like set up for the joke, question. I did not spell question right. Question of the setup and then punchline. Right? So you have like this kind of Watchmen's gutters on every page. What are you, better than Watchmen? So like the panels are this. The panels are this, right? And in between the panels, this white space in between each panel, and then if you were to put a panel down here that's like second punchline, the white space here, this white space, this is gutter. It's all gutter. So yeah, all this white space, all this, gutter. You don't know what that is, but it's not a question mark. Look, man, we're playing fast and loose right now. Stick to coloring. Wow. I don't have the best draftsmanship, but yeah. So if basically that's what a color or a gutter is. You guys are tripping me up. It's any space between gutters, and a lot of artists will like take a page like this and like as a quick fix they'll add a gutter. Like this page doesn't necessarily need one, but you were talking about how like they added these big fat gutters and then like it made it boring. Like you can take like and add a gutter like that, and then like suddenly it's a little more legible, and maybe put the actual gutter in. Like you don't need a thick gutter for like every panel. But you look at Watchmen and it's 9-panel grids. Like that's what we're talking. All the white space in between everything in the 9-panel grid is a gutter, and that 9-panel grid and how Kirby would lay out his pages. He didn't do anything kind of like this. The reason that like 90s artists like Todd McFarlane and Eric Larson and Jim Lee were so like bombastic in the 90s is because they started just doing these like insane layouts where they were overlaying like panels on top of each other and stuff like that. sometimes to the detriment of the storytelling, but it was very bombastic. It's a trade-off, like what you want to do. Um, Now, a lot of artists will do this kind of page and then add a little gutter as like help, you know. This page is not like that. That which is totally fine. Let me salvage our selection. There we go. In that case, it was a bad page made worse by gutters. Hey, look, you add gutters to a bad page, it's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. So my impulse with this page is if we are throwing out the dome, X-Men within a dome, then I kind of want to put some sunlight behind Psylocke and Nimrod in order to push them forward, kind of like stream some sunlight down, and then that gives me context to push this building back into the background. So we're gonna put like one big cut on the side here, and then we're gonna have her psychic knife, right? That's what she does. I think that's what she does. Listen, I know about characters in comic books and what they do. I know about things. I know about a few things. Um, Captain America's the one from the Bronx, right? I know about things. I know about things. Uh, and then we're gonna do like her psychic knife, kind of like highlighting her as like a secondary light source. So that's the goal. Um, and like I said before, this is not a. I don't know if I said this, but this is definitely not me being like the original colorist Justin did not do this correctly. He definitely did, and I would say that 2010 Justin Ponzer would smoke 2010 Nick Filardi any day of the week. So you know, just something to keep in mind. Uh, Marvel doesn't have any heroes from the Bronx. Is I thought the Thing was from Queens, wasn't he Queens? I said the Bronx as a joke because I know Captain America's from Brooklyn, right? Brooklyn. That seems like a wild thing that Marvel just didn't put any of their heroes in the Bronx. That doesn't seem right. That can't be right. Spider Man's Queens. He should be the Bronx. Now he should be the Bronx, but was Miles Morales, was he did he live in the Bronx? I don't know. But yeah, they definitely should put what's a Brooklyn? Is that in the United States? Yes, it is. Every Brooklynite is an American. All right. Let's Terry and Rachel Dodson put this big chunky metal highlight on the side here, so we're gonna use it. They gave it to us. We will use it. Miles is Brooklyn. Yeah, that's wild. Somebody's got to be from the Bronx. If not, somebody should make somebody from the Bronx. Her legs are a little blobby, especially this one back here. So we're gonna try to distract from that as well when we do our colors. Stan Lee's from the Bronx, so it evens out. There you go. I didn't know he was from the Bronx. I knew he was from New York, but I didn't know what borough. More of this big chunky highlight that we were given by Team Dotson. We'll take it. Um, Justin smartly made the boots kind of have like a little bit of a blast to them. So we're gonna do the same thing because why argue with what works? So yeah, the big things that I see when people tackle this page is like they can't navigate the overlapping panels. Um, and granted, it's a difficult thing to navigate. And then they have trouble with metal, which we're going to get into, and they have trouble with gosh, what was the other thing? Overlapping panels, foreground, middle ground, background, metal, and then they get caught up in trying to make sure that like the story it's story accurate with the dome, and then they copy what Justin's doing, and you don't need to do that. Um, you can kind of just do your own thing, especially if you're just making uh, something for the portfolio. So we're adding a. This is like all secondary light stuff. This is going to be the psychic knife. My Marvel knowledge has been very much lacking. I haven't read a lot of Marvel books in a long time, to be honest. Um, I've been reading a lot of indie and a lot of manga. I haven't actually been reading a lot lately right now. Um, Usually, when I get overworked, I read less comics, but I started reading some a book called Lupin the Third's Greatest Heists. Um, Selena Reyes from the Bronx. No superheroes from Staten Island too. Yeah, well that just makes sense. Wow, wow, going after Staten Island. Um, we're just making some cutouts along the lines of what was drawn here already. Uh, Not really thinking too much about it because when we start to get in and like paint the metal, uh, we're gonna start to like change a lot of this stuff. Um, Marvel's got a line of books now where they bring back old writers to do stories that take place when they originally wrote these books, and that's the best. Man, that does sound like the best, especially if you're a fan of old comics because you are very old, right? Fake McCoy. It's got to be really good for extremely elderly people, right? Yeah, I'm at war with the chat now. Come and get me. This is a hostile environment. Uh, I think I'm trying to remember the last Marvel book I read. I had to have picked up something over Christmas. I went on a kick of like I had a bunch of time on my hands over Christmas, and like you do when you're at Christmas at your in-laws, and Larry Hannah on Wolverine, Hama on Wolverine. That's fantastic. Yeah, I actually this all sounds really good. You loved it because you're old. Yes. Ben Riley's Spider Man. You got Demetis on that. That's fantastic. I haven't read his original run though. I'm a fool. I should read that stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I want to read that I'm just like, I don't know. These runs are very, very long, and I'm like, I'll get to it eventually. And then I read Lupin the Third's Greatest Heists. That manga, by the way, whew. You really gotta like strap into the fact that a lot of it was made in the 60s and has some kind of 60s vibes towards women. really gotta be okay with that in that punch monkey stuff. All right, I think we're done kind of putting in the first cut on that, and we can move on to the next one. So like I said, these aren't going to need a whole lot because they're so small. Like, what are we, like an inch is from the top of the page to here? So this is like, Psylocke's like less than an inch tall on this panel, so you don't have to go crazy. The thing that drives me nuts, by the way, is when it can't be worse than the 60s Marvel stuff. It's a little worse. So yeah, with stuff that's like this small, you don't have to go too crazy as far as your rendering and stuff like that. And you can tell, like, when we zoom in, when we like really zoom in, like, you could tell that they're not killing themselves over this face. And this face is like less than half an inch tall. It's like a quarter of an inch. So it at a certain point, it's like, yes, we can get in here. Photoshop will allow us to get in there and do every little gleam and glimmer on the metal body of Nimrod, but it is not worth our time to do that, because once you print out the page, once you hold the page in your hand, you look at the full page, none of that stuff matters. It's all going to get lost. So put all that detail in? No. I can't be tricked to do extra work. I'm not that kind of person. All right. So I don't know how we're going to do Iceman's ice, because I don't know when the last time I did like a Iceman thing with Elsa. We did a Fantastic Four one page from the Fantastic Four that was a remake of an old book. She took an old, I think it was Kirby, Fantastic Four page, and remade it how she wanted to make it. And we definitely stood out in that book. It was a lot of like straight up and down superhero guys, like superhero with a capital S, and then Elsa doing her thing, and then Elsa Charité, it's French. I'm struggling with it. Anyway, she's great. She has a fantastic YouTube channel, by the way, where she breaks down like thinking about art and thinking about comics in really interesting ways. She just did a great interview with Declan. Y'all should check it out, and her stuff's really good. Y'all should check it out. But yeah, the page we did really stuck out like a sore thumb in a good way, I would say, because like I like to stick out. I like it when the work that I do and the people I work with are noticeable, not interchangeable, unique. So we're just kind of cutting out some highlights. Do the same with the hair down here. And like I said, we're not going to go too crazy on any of these details, because Dazzler is very small. She didn't even make it to the original. Is she outside? That monster. That absolute monster. I just realized, because the building's cutting her off here, that she's technically outside. Now I'm angry at Dazzler. Just angry. I guess she is, because this little sparkle's also like kind of cut off. She's just there. She doesn't even show up on the next page, I don't think. She's just there in the one panel. This is probably why she was cut from the final print page, because they were like, who is that? Why is she there? Readers will be like, oh, there's Dazzler, and then she's gone. Yeah. If it even is Dazzler. She got a half a inch on a page in the background. That was it. That's all she got. We're just making some shapes here. Not really thinking about it too hard. Just wanted to get something down. Okay, let's do this last page. Don't really have to do too much. I don't really know what's happening here. I think this is like the fist. But like we were saying in the previous page, very, very small image, so we don't have to get too crazy. We're just gonna kind of try to make sense of it. There we go. And then we'll deal with the ice. Dazzler can never catch a break. Was that Ben Reilly book? Did they just use an old like costume that Dan Jurgens drew for Ben Reilly that like never got used? I think I saw something about that on Twitter. It was like an old Spider-Man costume that just never saw the light of day, and then fans were kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool actually. It was like white webbing on red, kind of like the Spider-Verse MJ costume. I think that was the same thing. The Lupin the Third book is good, by the way. But I've been playing a lot of games and trying to do a lot of restoration. Like I was saying in the beginning, man, that Game Boy. I know it's like, here's the thing. Here's partly why I think that I'm having so many problems with this Game Boy, is because usually when people encounter this kind of stuff on the Game Boy, like difficult problems, they're like, welp, this $30 Game Boy is a bust. You know, like this $20 Game Boy is a bust. I'll move on to the next one and try to fix that one. And there's like really no profit in trying to flip Game Boys from broken to restored. They're kind of worth the same broken as they are. Like they're only worth like a little bit more restored than they are broken. So there's not really much profit in them. So not a lot of people who are serious about repairing retro consoles like really fuck with Game Boys at all. Like it's not a big community, and you know there's not really there's a big community of people who like Game Boys and will mod them and stuff, but like when it comes to like a serious problem like this, like I'm having pins that are putting out wrong voltages, and now I have to like find where they're shorting to ground on the board and stuff. That kind of stuff doesn't really get fixed. It's a lot of like take isopropyl alcohol and clean the cartridge slot and like that kind of stuff, which is kind of intro to Game Boy stuff. In terms of pain to deal with, which one would it be? I don't even know. If it was it'd be a Sabretooth maybe. It's like Sabretooth's not that big of a deal to deal with. I don't think this page is that big of a deal to deal with, speaking as a colorist with, you know, almost 20 years experience. Like I'm fine with like most things you're gonna throw at me, but I'm doing some layer stuff. Let's put the shadow down. Multiply 65. This is usually where I usually do this when I start a page. This is just a dark gray. This is what it is. 75, 50, 40. Multiply it down. It's about 65%. And then from here, I kind of push pull to see what exactly we want to do. We can also take this and dump it into a channel like this. Kind of invert it so it makes sense. We can select all the white, deselect this gutter white, and we can kind of wash it with a color to kind of give us our base to start with. So let's take, it's outdoors, we're gonna make it kind of sunny. Let's take a yellow, wash all the highlighted areas, maybe just like 15, 20, something like that. Take some of the backgrounds, saturate it up a little. Let's do like a dark blue. We can even Quentin or whoever killed the first Thunderbird. Oh man, you're deep in the X-Men lore that I am not versed with. We just got discussing how I haven't read a lot of Marvel books lately. By lately, I mean in the last 30 years. Black magic. What are you talking? Are you talking about? Are you talking about the work that I'm doing? Is black magic? I'll take that as a compliment. I'm ready to receive compliments. I'm treating the chat as hostile, and I am also ready to receive compliments. Okay, so now we know Dazzler's outside. Let's put her outside. But let's keep Iceman inside. So we're going to remember that heat map that I was like, all the things to do. Yeah. Thunderbird was killed by an exploding plane. Yes, this is the exploding. This is not quite exploding exploding plane level of easy, but it is. It's not that much. It's not that hard. The thing is like you do this for 20 years, and like it starts to just become second nature. You're like, oh, this old chestnut again. Let's fix this problem. Let's find the solution. Yeah, I clicked the Photoshop art button. The go. It exploded because it flew into a mountain. Click the old Photoshop art button. We're going to make Iceman move as close to us as possible. These like sheets of paper, we're going to try to differentiate him a little from Iceman. We're going to polish Iceman up, but before we do that, let's push these buildings back. These buildings, so something that I noticed people kind of struggled with was when they got to this panel, they made these buildings just as important as like everything else, like as far as hierarchy. And they did that because they were keeping it kind of the same value as everything else. You can really push these buildings way back there. So we're going to grab this aqua color from the background and just like really push these buildings back. Maybe not even this aqua, but maybe warm it up a little. But like we can really push them back. And then beyond that, we're going to select them and keep them pushed back. By selecting maybe one of this darker blue up here, and we'll just boop. That doesn't work. Needs to be a little darker than that, maybe even a little warmer. Just like that, we pushed it way back. And we can even take this color from the street, right? Take this color here, which is like closer to white, but certainly lighter than this stuff going on up here, and just like draw a grad through it, maybe even get to white. Like really want to push it back as much as possible. And we're going to push back Psylocke and Nimrod back here as well, and I guess Dazzler, which is not my original intention. Sorry, Dazzler. I thought she was like in the building shooting the particles to the outside. Okay, can Dazzler... Can you get me a fade in, write it button? No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That doesn't exist. Writers are the... Here's the thing. Writers are the only ones who are actually doing any of the work in comics. Everybody else is just jamming that art button over and over and over again. He was also writing the plane on the outside to make sure to tell the other X-Men that he was manly, and then he died. What a way to go out. Alright, all the particles. Every freaking particle. And Dazzler. And I guess this is the street here? I guess that's what's happening. Every piece of Dazzler. Did we get it all? We didn't even get it all. Here, you know what? There we go. Obviously, we're all putting work in. Jeez. Jeez, Charlie. It'll get picked up by Screen Rant. Yeah, I know. Every time I shoot my mouth off, it gets picked up by Screen Rant. And every time I don't shoot my mouth off, it gets picked up by Screen Rant. I think that says more about Screen Rant than it does with me. Can Dazzler shoot her dazzles? Like, if she has line of sight, but there's something in between it, can she do it to the... can she, like, hit the other side? Is it like a teleport of dazzles? Or does she have to shoot the dazzles? How do the dazzles work? How do they work? So we're going to take a light blue. We want them on the outside, and we want Bobby on the inside. Bobby's Iceman, for anyone who doesn't know. That's not something I call him. That's his name. So we're going to take this blue and just kind of like 30%? 30% works. That's a question for the other. I always thought projectiles. Okay, so it makes sense that she's outside then. Let's select the dazzles. The dazzles are going to be very, very bright. We'll make we're going to fade this road a little bit. We can make it the same color as the lines up there. Actually, we make it a little lighter. So in order to get these characters right now, because Iceman has the same kind of size, like takes up this amount of size on the page, and then Dazzler takes up around the same size, and Nimrod's about the same size, and Psylocke's about the same size. Because they're all the same size on the panel and like kind of scrolling down one after the other, according to Wikipedia, she can make lights appear. You hardly have a PhD in Dazzler. She can make lights appear. So she could make it appear through in a place that she doesn't necessarily have. She can't throw to. She can make them appear somewhere that she can see. Right? Right? Everybody give me your hottest Dazzler take in the comments below. That's all I want. I want my inbox filled up with Dazzler hot takes. Tell me about your discrepancies with how Dazzler is portrayed in the universe. What are the rules? All right. So, because they have the same kind of size as the page goes down, they kind of read on the same plane. And to combat that, the best way to do it is to be like, okay, Psylocke is behind glass. Let's colorize her line art. We don't have to be as drastic as the buildings in the back here, but we do want to make it noticeable so that way the grid of the buildings pops forward. Oh man, this is I'm into some stuff here. Let's make better selections. Secondary light source, secondary character. Oh, Dazzler. Here's your Dazzler hot take. The costume she wears this issue is kind of ridiculous with its vagina booty sunburst. Look. You show me an X-Men that has never made a mistake with a costume, okay? Every single X-Man has had a and mutant. Every single mutant has had a bad costume. Every single one. Best Dazzler story was in Wick Div. I never read Wick Div. My buddy Matt works on that book, and people love it. I got the first trade, and I was like, I'm gonna get into this, and then I was like, I don't think this is for me. Just I could see why people were into it. It wasn't for me. I was much more of a, as far as Matt Wilson's work goes, Paper Girls. Way more into Paper Girls. By the way, I don't know if you guys follow. There's a comics shop in Niagara Falls called Pulp, and there's a number. I forgot what the number was. Pulp something, and we're gonna do these little dots, I guess, too. Unless this is Iceman chunks. These might be Iceman chunks. Let's not do the dots. So Pulp had a bunch of girls come in to buy Paper Girls, young girls, teens, and they bought Paper Girls, and they were like, their plan was, these teen girls, their plan was that they were going to buy, each of them was going to buy 716. Yeah, Pulp 716. Each of them was going to buy one trade, and they were going to get 3 trades between them, you know? Somebody gets volume 1, somebody gets volume 2, somebody gets volume 3, and then they can read it, right? Great plan. So, we kind of got our... We might need to push these guys back just a smidge more. We're losing some of the drawing in here in Psylocke. But I want to make sure that our black is where we want it. Is that straight out of The Simpsons? Anyway, these girls came in, bought these things, and they were like, time travel is a central tenet of Paper Girls. And they were like, if you could time travel to anywhere a long time ago, where would you time travel? And these young teen girls said, 2000. And I instantly turned to dust. Like the skeleton that I am. Just absolutely got wrecked.
Sorry,
You heard that?
2000.
You were laughing about that? Yeah.
Oh my god.
Those young girls, they're going to go back to the old-timey days of 2000.
Must be nice.
Yeah, must be nice. Must be nice to be young. Oh, they all, yeah, all three of them, but all three of them buy one comic. They buy Radioactive Man #1. Isn't it terrible too? Don't they end up hating it? I think they end up hating it. They say what in 2000 they wanted to see? They did not. Is 22 to 25 middle age? No, 40 is middle age, my friend. All right, we're gonna color Dazzler's Dazzles right now because we got them selected, so we might as well get them dazzling. I'm just doing this by hand. We've already made the selection of the gray, so I'm gonna try to just do this by hand real quick. "40 is dead." Oh no. Oh no. Clock's ticking. If 40 is dead, then I probably shouldn't be streaming this. I should probably be putting my estate in order, I guess. I guess. I hope not. I hope not. Still got a lot of comics to make. Oh, you did a cover with them, Charlie? That's great. Yeah, Pulp does. They do a lot of great cosplay and stuff. They do a lot of great promotion. They're just a good shop. If I'm ever in that area, in the Niagara Falls area, I do want to go visit them and buy some stuff. They also seem like they're too cool for me. But they also seem very welcoming. You should go into their shop and check it out. I've been dead a bit longer. Yeah, you're a ghost. Yeah. Okay. Alright. We're getting these dazzles. So, one of the problems that we're going to run into as we create this page is that these dazzles are going to be like bright and popping. However, we're running into the problem of like the way to make things bright and popping is to have them against darker backgrounds. Stream is haunted. Yes, confirmed. If you take something like a burst of stardust or whatever dazzler sauce is what happens. That's what we're coloring right here. So if you take some dazzler sauce and you have it against like a night sky, you can really make it glow. But if you take some dazzle sauce, and I've already started to regret calling it dazzle sauce, then you put it against something like a light like sky like we're doing here, no matter how much you make it glow, there's going to be an upward limit of like how much contrast you get between the background and the foreground. So we got to keep that in mind with this. So like this stuff, I think this is dazzle sauce. And man, I keep using that term and I do regret it. So we're gonna dazzle it up. Okay. So already Bobby's kind of like popping forward in this panel. And Dazzler's getting pushed back, and these guys are getting pushed back. And we're going to continue to push them back with Dazzler's flares here a little bit. Kind of like push them a little bit. And since we're not going to be rendering the heck out of Psylocke here, we're going to warm up the shadow on the skin tone. Since we used when we originally made these shadows, we used this cooler gray and multiplied it down. Because of that, usually the shadows get a little dingy when they should be warmer. So just like a little bit of red, 20%. Maybe scale it back just a little bit. A little orange, Just trying to like warm it up. Do the same thing with her little sash. Her little sash there. Adorable. Fade this stuff back a little bit. Oh, we missed it a little in here. We can even push the smoke back a little more to make it look a little airy. This is also something that we talked about in Matt's portfolio reviews. In Matt's portfolio review, hey, you should watch the portfolio reviews. There's a lot of good information in there if you're interested in comic coloring. When you make like smoke and that kind of stuff, if you give it a little bit of the color of the background of like whatever's behind the smoke, then you can make it appear a little more transparent. So that's what we're going to do. I gotta sneeze. That was a rough one. Okay. Yes, Guy Fieri's Dazzler sauce. Yes, the old Razzle Dazzle. Okay. Oh, hey Kelly. Man, Boix. By the way, Boix streamed some Link to the Past with Guy Fieri. Ferretti? No. Ferrari? Ferrari?
I like calling him Guy Ferrari.
Yeah, Shannon calls him Guy Ferrari, and it screws me up because now I don't know what his actual name is. But Boig streamed with him Link to the Past, first time playing through, and he changed the sprite to Guy Ferrari, and made donkey sauce jokes the entire time. And then I went online to buy some donkey sauce because I was like, I gotta try this after we talked about it for so long. And then you can't buy it. It's unbuyable. There is Guy Fieri sauce out there, but no donkey sauce. That's for sure. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. So this building I would like to make darker in general, because it needs to be darker than the building behind it, and this building needs to be lighter. So we're going to take kind of this reflection. We're just going to throw a screen through it. Oh, good. My dog found her toy while I'm on stream. Excellent. Thank you, Kelly. We're going to push this back a little bit. We're going to do like a burst and some special effects and stuff too. Eventually. This is probably going to be a two-stream situation. Because we're already an hour and a half in and we haven't really started doing any of the painting or anything, so we're working general to specific, like you do with anything in art. So we're making a lot of big changes, and then we're going to come in next stream and make some smaller changes. That is too bright. Okay, getting there. The smoke is reading too red. Thinking about how I want to handle this. Let's instead... Let's start here. Let's warm up Psylocke's skin a little bit. And let's get that nice chunky secondary light source that I was talking about before. Here, anywhere else? Here. Okay. Let's make that very bright. We need to change it here because it's going to be the knife blade. But otherwise, it is going to be this nice warm yellow. Dog is woofing now. She is woofing. Oh my god. I apologize. She ready to fight the whole world? Kelly, come here. Hi. Can you please stop woofing? Does Shan need to take you out because I'm on a stream? Alright, girl, chill. She got no chill. Alright, let's Psylocke, give her that pink tone because she is like attacking that dude. Let's take Nimrod. And now I know I washed him with a yellow, but we're gonna instantly negate that. Wash it with like a little bit of blue. Especially in this top one, because we want him to pop forward. We want him to pop forward the most, actually. So we're gonna give him this blue. You know what? Actually, that's perfect. And then let's select the rest of it, and let's warm all of it up, or darken all of it up. That looks good. Let's take this and just run a screen through it. Screen, radial grad, just like that. Don't underestimate your grad tools when you're working on metal. Like, it'll really help to create a sheen through it. We're gonna do the same thing with Bobby here. Just like that. Like, we haven't even really gotten into like tackling, like putting a lot of detail in, and already it's starting to read like metal. Isn't Nimrod white? Excuse me? In this page, he is not. He's definitely like a gray. Like a really light metal color. Hold on. These are different. Okay. Nimrod might be. These are Nimrod Sentinels. These are like something else, I think. So I'm not sure if they're actually this, like the white that you want. Hold on. Let's look up Nimrod. Nimrod X-Men. Oh yeah, he's like white. But this is not the same character. As far as I know, this is not the same character. Granted, it looks like he's had a couple of you just totally derailed the stream. Yes, you did. Okay. So like this is Nimrod. I'm clicking this Boix image. Oh yeah. So these are like the Nimrods that we're dealing with, because they have these little spike things. Like we have those spike things going on. These are different Nimrods than like this Nimrod. This Nimrod is something different. For those of you who have been screaming at me this entire time, that's not what Nimrod looks like. It is what Nimrod looks like. You got to deal with this. He's got weird spiky things. Just, like, we all need to chill out. Alright? No one is at fault here. Okay. I think we're getting close to where I'm thinking about leaving it. Oh, here's the thing. Here's the thing. We do want to darken all of this up. We want to get all this debris and really darken it up. Reverse right whitewashing. No, no, don't put that on me. All these robots look the same? Oh my god, don't. So many Nimrods, so little time, absolutely. So we want to make this building darker than the surrounding stuff in order to push it forward. Okay. Let's take this. Let's take like a dark blue, multiply it. This looks very, very harsh. But we can kind of go in and like fix it a little bit. Ooh, we're still on multiply. Something like that. Take the highlights, redden them up. Maybe even get this like purple going. When we start to add some flares behind here, because I want this corner of the building to be actually pushed back because I want this ice to pop. So we're going to add like a flare here behind the ice, basically in this section of the building. Like the sun is right back here in order to push it back. So hopefully the sun will help us not only highlight the ice, but also push the building back as it recedes into the distance. And will also help to unify to make sure that these are like all the same building. Because right now this building looks a little different than this stuff, but we can fix that, I guess. I don't like this brownish beige anyway. We can try to warm it up a little. There we go. Yeah, so I think this page is starting to look good, and I think we've tackled a lot of the problems that people have with this page, which is like we're not getting the storytelling beats right. We're not getting people able to see like outside inside. Got any opinions on beige? I got a few opinions on beige. Beige is bullshit. Don't use beige. Beige is non-committal horse shit. And the only time that you should ever use beige is when you are purposely creating a scene that is supposed to be like the point of the scene is that it's boring, like a character trapped in a waiting room. Use beige. Or if it's like you're doing a 3-color comic with like beige, red, and like a light blue or something like that, like that's fine to use beige. But like if you're making superhero comics and your page is coming out beige, questionable. It's questionable. Okay. Look. We're going to end the stream a little early. I usually like to do 2 hours. It's been an hour 45, but like, look, man, it's Friday. I had to push this stream because I was working on other stuff on Tuesday, Wednesday. I was trying to get World of Krypton out on time. I did, by the way. Thank me later, or thank me on Twitter when you read the issue. It's fantastic. It's the closing issue number 6. At any rate, World of Krypton is out, and it is Friday, and I would like to watch something with Shannon and talk about Guy Ferrari with her in more detail. So I think we're going to call it right now, and we're going to finish this page up next stream. You really enjoyed issue 5? Oh, that's awesome, dude. So World of Krypton, I kind of was like, it's a Superman thing. I don't know. I guess I'll take it. And then the writer, Robert, he wrote some of the Valiant stuff that I had to read when I started working on Book of Shadows, which is about issue 1's going to come out in like 3 months, I think. And I read Robert's stuff, and I was like, I read his Eternal Warrior run, and I was like, holy cow, he knocked it out of the park. And I sent him an email because I was like, dude, crushed it with this. And as I was reading, I think I was like a few scripts in. Yeah, no problem, Charlie. I think I was a few scripts in on World of Krypton, and I'm not super invested in Superman in general. Got to read his Exo. Yeah, I know. I'm not super invested in... I like Superman the character. I'm not super invested in his origins. So Krypton didn't seem that interesting to me. And then with each script that I got from Robert, I was like more and more invested into what he was writing. And I was like, damn, that dude sucked me in. You should pick up World of Krypton. And then Oming and I are he's going absolutely crazy on these pages. He's doing his best freaking Kirby all over these things. And I am like, just like keeping up with him. That's what I'm doing on there. Trying to do the best job I can on there. So yeah, I think we're going to call the stream early. World of Krypton is out and on time. We got the first part of this done. We will knock this out the next stream. When we come back with fresh eyes, we're going to come back on Tuesday. Finish this up. And then on Thursdays, we're doing Four Swords with me, Boix, Churls, and Ilion. If you missed the stream we did yesterday, it was a banger. It was awesome. I had so much fun playing Four Swords. It's total chaos. It's Zelda that's total chaos. I think I might change up the layout for the next one and not show everybody's Game Boy screen. Maybe just the mainstream and my Game Boy screen. It might make it for a better watch. But yeah, super fun. You should check that stream out. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for checking out this stream. Hey, thank you for the follow. I saw that. We're going to do some final odds and ends, like I said. There's a lot of stuff that I do in the final steps of a page that I feel like really start to make it pop. Like I'm looking at it right now on my second screen, and it's like looking good, but not great. And we're going to take that final step next stream together. You and me. Just us. You and me. We're going to take that step together. All right. Keep making comics, folks. Thanks for hanging out.